Welcome once again to Hunters Entertainment on Twitch.tv. I am Noxweiler Burf, your game master and guide through a dark and challenging world of survival horror. Tonight, as we do every Tuesday evening, we are playing Outbreak Undead. This game is not for the faint of heart, and I, as the game master, have confirmed consent with each of my players. Our lines and veils have been firmly drawn, and we have safety protocol in place to assist and protect absolutely everyone at the table here with us tonight. We ask for your consent as well, and I encourage you to please read through the content warning very closely. This game offers us all opportunities to explore dark themes and shine a light on the human condition in the safe confines of our imaginations, but that takes bravery, and it takes the support of everyone at the table. We have done that here tonight. We trust one another, and we are moving forward very cautiously. Of course, not every character being played here today is playing with the same set of objectives and motivations as the others. Some are working directly against one another. They are in communication with dangerous outside forces, and they may come to odds with one another. Not everything will be resolved easily, quickly, or without lasting damage. You see, in this world, there are no magic swords to be discovered. There are no valiant knights or castle walls to hide behind. The dangers here are far worse than dragons and magic. They wear the face of a world that is very familiar, but a world that had died long ago. It is now the echo, a dying gasp of a civilization that has been lost. A familiar shadow, a ghost wandering before us. These are the shadows that we will walk amongst. Yet, in that, the greatest of darknesses, hope, burns the brightest. I would like to thank both JB Jara and Alex Hillman and the entire Hunters team for helping us to make this campaign possible. We couldn't do it without their support. They're behind the scenes now. Please also sign up for the Scry program in our panels below. You'll be able to engage with the communities of the apocalypse directly. You'll get to take on the role of a survivor yourself, and you can help to divert resources and goods to where you think that they are most needed. I cannot stress this enough. Your choices will mean the difference between life and death, and they are directly linked to the settlements of the Rag and Bone universe. Our tireless Undead moderators are in the chat now, and they're prepared to help you by answering your questions and supporting your efforts to become involved. And please, if you enjoy this content, continue to make noise for us on social media. Help us to grow this campaign and to bring more survivors into the fold. You can join in on our Discord and connect with others who you feel might enjoy this particular brand of twisted dark ride. Enough of all of that, however. Let me introduce you to the players in tonight's little nightmare. Michelle, would you like to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about where you can be found across the internet?
Hello, I'm Michelle Lynn Bradley. You can find me on the internet at I am Chubby Bunny on all social media. You can also find me here every Tuesday, of course, playing this very fun Undead game. You can find me on Wednesdays over on Official Paizo. Their Twitch channel does Starfinder campaign, and we just started. We're only on episode 3, which is tomorrow, starting at 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Pacific time. You can also find me on the YouTube channel Total Nerd. I do voiceover a lot over there for fun lists like ways you can sell your video games, make lots of money, or what's wrong with Sonic the Hedgehog. It's all video game fun. And here today I am both Juniper and Olive Song. We are the same person, but when I get mad, I turn into Olive. And right now, I just got out of being imprisoned. I still have chains around my hands, I believe. And I'm trying to get out, and I don't know who is with me on this running away thing. And but I'm pretty sure Rowan's trying to kill me. That's the only thing I really know.
Indeed, many individuals are trying to kill you. You have actions that have consequences that must be paid for, and there are many within this world that have been wronged by either the actions of yourself or your sister. Markia, would you like to talk a little bit about who you're playing tonight and about what you're doing across the internet?
Hello, I'm Markia McCarty. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Markia McCarty. Facebook is Markia TV, and Twitch is Darth Markia. Uh, well, for where you can find me during the week, of course, here on Tuesdays, Monday mornings, you can find me at Roll20 app. That's 8 a.m. If you're Pacific time. It's Kids on Bikes campaign within Techberg. I am a 11 and a half year old, like, fierce guru for all things spiritual. She's a trip and a half. And on Thursdays and Fridays, starting this Thursday and Friday for the month of April, I'm GMing a dual campaign for Level Up Dice, and then also here for Hunters Entertainment. We're doing Altered Carbon Birmingham Uprising. It is the new supplemental to Altered Carbon. It is not out anywhere where you can get it just yet, but you can watch it be played in two different ways, Thursdays and Fridays. So I'm really excited about that. That's going to be 1 p.m. PT if you're Pacific time. Go ahead and look on my socials. I'll have all the information there. And then, of course, on April 8th, if you love all things horror, my show, Something Scary, we are having a live show with loopedlive.com, where I will be narrating stories with some special guests. There will be a Q&A of all things horror, and then there's also a meet and greet element if you are so inclined to do that with some one-on-one videoing. So yeah, that's a lot of different other places to see me. So for Chira, uh, Achira has a history with the Citadel. It's something that came to light in the last couple of episodes. She has been part of the Citadel before, and she ended up escaping in her own way with it. Now she is trapped within the brig and is negotiating with Rowan for her life and the lives of others. And we'll see how that goes because, well, I'm sure everything will turn out fine.
As we all are. There's certainly nothing that Achira has to atone for. No skeletons in her closet, no ghosts from her past that haunt her. Everything, as you said, will be just fine. Melee, would you like to talk a little bit about who you're playing tonight and about where you can be found elsewhere on the internet?
Hi there, I'm Melee Damage. You can find me on the internet at whatever the social media platform is /Melee Damage. You can see me here every Tuesday. I have a song out called Mothership. It's on everything that you can look music up on. You should do that. And I've got a couple of other wonderful things in the works with more music and maybe some film projects coming up soon that I can't quite talk about yet. I will be playing Rowan tonight, who seems to be at odds with the rest of the crew here, which is not unfamiliar to her. I think she feels like she keeps trying to save them somehow in her way, and is a little shaky ground. But I'm very excited to see how this goes in the midst of her dealings with Achira and see if a deal can be struck.
Rowan is surrounded by her people, soldiers that she has helped to train in this apocalyptic world. And yet, standing here, one has to wonder if she truly has any friends anywhere nearby. Last but not least, Luis, would you like to talk a little bit about who you'll be playing tonight and about where you might be found elsewhere on the internet?
Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Luis Carrazzo. You can find me on social media too. Just my name, Luis Carrazzo. Put that together, I'll pop up. I got a couple commercials that are running right now, which is great because they pay all the bills. So you can see that potentially, and Oh, I keep plugging the short film. Because I'm really proud of the work that's in it. Of Hearts and Castles is the name of the short film, and it's doing its festival run right now. And every couple weeks we have an update about another festival that we've gotten into. Of course, I don't know all of them right off the top of my head, but on social media I do share where you might be able to watch that. Um, so yeah, hopefully you guys check that out. I'm playing Lampwick here. Lampwick is so he seems to be with the shepherds right now. He's been spending some time with the shepherds and has been learning more about them and perhaps what motivates them and how they're sort of seeing this post-apocalyptic world. And on some level, he's kind of clicking with what they have going on. And he's here at the Citadel initially under the intention of forming some kind of alliance between the Citadel and the Shepherds. And lo and behold, he meets everybody else here. We're all trapped in this situation together. Hopefully, we get out of it together. Maybe.
We can hope, can't we? Lampwick has made some very interesting choices recently and has made pacts with outside forces that others might consider distasteful. However, it seems that your small collective of survivors haven't had much time to interact with each other. Everything has happened very quickly. You're in the middle of a jailbreak now. Regardless, we will come to all of that very shortly. For all of you who have been supporting us here at Rag and Bone over these past few months, we are very thankful. We do have very special gifts for you that you can partake in if you wish to make your personal survival a little more bearable. First of all, on Drive-Thru RPG, we offer you now an entire selection of chapters of Rag and Bone Ground Zero, which will help usher you into this world and explain more about the background of this campaign. You'll find character sheets and more if you wish to take a closer look at each of these survivors. This Friday, you'll find a new offering that will be expounding upon the Black Bile. I highly recommend that you take a look at it. Again, it's absolutely free, and just one of the many ways that we wish to say thank you. Also, within our audience, if you manage to help us collect 15 subscriptions or 100 follows within any week, the players will earn an additional competency point that they can use to help to survive the onslaught of terror that I have planned for them. I'm sorry to say that this week, that goal has not been made, but it seems as if we're on track to make it for next week. Within our scry, we offer you a variety of different options to interact with us very, very, very directly. And last week, you made a choice. You spent valuable time and resources uncovering a VHS tape. As we are made of our word, we will be sharing that tape with you here. But there is much to do. The road is very long. It is growing dark, and the horror has just begun.
motherfuckers think that I lost my mind out there. They think that I'm broken like the wild ones. I ain't got my head on a swivel. Or they're fucking wrong. Be more wrong, in fact. I may be the last sane person standing in the middle of this four-alarm fire. At first, I thought it was a lie. A trap of some sort. Some lure to bring the survivors in from the wilderness so that they can put out of their goddamn misery. That's what I thought. I thought wrong. Look, you ain't like the other rag and bone. You've been paying attention, listening. You started... Don't make no sense to throw pearls before swine. Any personages looking to crack the code and really have a shot out here needs to be able to do a little more than just crack some skulls and wipe Romero's out. The real survivors are the ones that remember the past and learn how to use it to their advantage. Nothing really dies. Not really. Even now, look the fuck around. Our dead are following us everywhere we go. So yeah, while the Enders can call me cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, I got things lined up that you couldn't even imagine. I have the truth. No one else has figured it out. It all starts and ends with Dr. Banerjee. I got a lot of his tapes, been making quiet trades for them. Lots of other folks came to the conclusion that I did, that the tapes are a hoax meant to trap people and lure them into their graves. I've been playing that up, telling people that I use them as re-recording stock for classics. They're too eager to buy that line of shit. What's the alternative, huh? To believe there may be answers waiting out in the wilds? That maybe shit don't gotta be like this? I think most people would rather roll over and die at this point. You ain't like that, are you? You got bigger plans. You wanna play with the big boys? Maybe you think you can find the archives? Well, fuck it. Maybe you can. But if you do, know that you ain't making it out alive. You want to know what I know? Over my dead body. Keep digging, little pig. Find some truffles in all of my shit.
The world ended on Monday, May 29th, 1995. The sky fell, and the dead did not die. Civilization quickly collapsed, and the sickness spread like lightning to even the most remote reaches of the world. They called it many things, but it started out simply as another round of the summer flu. It became something far worse. H195, commonly called Legacy or the Reaper's Kiss, was as deadly as it sounded. It seemed to even become more infectious after the poor souls that had contracted it passed away. And once dead, they did not lie there long before they were reanimated, brought back from their graves, shambling forward, seeking the flesh of the living, unwilling to relent, gathering together in enormous hordes. The nightmare grew. At first, it seemed as if no one was immune to the airborne strain, but eventually it appeared that a very small percentile of the population had a natural immunity. However, even those lucky souls couldn't withstand a concentrated introduction of the virus. If they were bit, or if they received a deep scratch or blood-on-blood contact with the walking dead, they too would lose everything. The end of days were like wildfire, and throughout the world, people sought security where there was none to be had. Entire cities burnt to the ground. Everything crumbled. But miraculously, some still survived. And for the next 25 years, life has struggled forward, limping towards an unknown end. One that is not secure or guaranteed. You see, the world is a fractured place now, but some seek to make civilization anew. Rag and bone merchants are the individuals that connect all the varied communities together. They take goods and services, even news and information, between the small collectives that have managed to eke out some manner of survival in the wilderness that the entire world has now become. The Ender's Line is one such group, and it uses old railway tracks to connect all of these small scattered outposts and settlements together, all across what was once known as the Midwestern United States. They are a lifeline in a world that now belongs entirely to the dead. Lampwick. Crickets are chirping somewhere in the far distance. It's cold, much colder than it was a couple of weeks ago. It seems as if winter will be upon all of you very soon. The weather is changing. You can feel it. In front of you, a plume of your own breath appears like a cloud. You are on your knees in silent prayer. You have been sitting here now for over an hour. There are others praying alongside you. There are shadows that move. The group that you have been traveling with, known by some as the Shepherds, are immaculate. They are clean. Their clothing is well mended, maintained. There is nothing ragged or rough about their appearances. Your clothing is the same clothing that you were wearing before. You are sweating. You smell. And you feel like a sore thumb here amongst these people. But you've only been with them for a short while. The leader, as far as you can tell, of this small unit of shepherds is Brother Noah Hayworth. He is a tall man, older than most, older than you, certainly. He has dark hair that is streaked with white and a closely trimmed beard. His eyes are like stone, and it seems as if he never blinks. He stares with an intensity, and his cheekbones are sallow. His face and his hands seem to also be carved of stone. He is kneeling in front of you, also in silent prayer. But as you pray, you hear the creaking of wagon wheels, the clatter of hooves from a horse, and footsteps, and yet no one around you. None of these shepherds break their prayer. They do not seem concerned with the arrival of others. What are you doing?
I am following their lead. I'm trying to learn through observation and emulate what I see and what I hear.
Very well. So you remain in prayer. And as you do, more figures begin moving. The cart stops. The horse ceases its trot. Its slow, ponderous clatter ceases, and everything is once again relatively quiet. The night air around you seems to grow colder. And you hear footsteps walking behind Brother Hayworth. And they stop just a mere few feet away from you. Brother Lampwick, you may rise.
I take one more moment to kind of finish my thought, my prayer. And then I deliberately rise up, open my eyes, and look towards the person that just addressed me.
You see Brother Hayworth standing now, and the two of you meet eyes, and behind him, you see two figures. They're wrapped in black. You've seen figures like this before. From head to toe, they are covered. Gloves and hoods, wrappings of tight black material, clean, well maintained. Sharply polished combat boots. At either side, they have blades and a sidearm. However, their faces are entirely concealed with featureless white masks. And they are standing to the right and the left of Brother Hayworth.
I look to each of them and I nod, an acknowledgement, and look back at Brother Hayworth.
You do so, and Brother Hayworth takes note of the respect that you have paid to them, but you are unable to read anything against these individuals. You have been with us now for just a short amount of time, Brother Lampwick, and I must ask, do you feel prepared for the task that has been set before you?
I do. I know that there's a lot at stake, and I know that perfect preparation is truly unattainable, but my heart is in the right place. And so with that, I do feel prepared.
It is important. Very important. This work that you do will prove your place amongst us. You will have many temptations and many dangers. You will be potentially led astray.
I know. Brother, I assure you that I'm not worried and I'm not afraid of having to prove myself to you or to this group, to anyone, because I know in my heart where the truth lies. And I know that I'm meant to be here with you.
It is true. You are meant to be here amongst us. It was Providence that brought you to us, Brother Lampwick, and Providence that will lead you forward into justice, into righteousness. You will bring us forth. It is time for the hand of Malachi to be known. But first, you must go to the sinners within the citadel and prove to me that you can do the work of the prophet.
I will do exactly that.
Before you leave, know they will be tested. And when you return to us, you will learn more. That is what you have asked, is it not?
It is. I know it is not my place to ask this, but I feel compelled to speak, to be honest with you. You have shown me much patience and understanding, and I know that in time, people will see the truth just as I have if you give them as much as you've given me. I want them to see what I see.
Good. I believe in you. I have seen the spark of truth within your eyes. But now you must prove that to us. Before you go, are you prepared to truly be fortified? To take communion with me?
I am ready for whatever it is that you think is the next step that I must take.
So be it. Brother Hayworth turns, slowly walks away from you. The other two are still there, standing before you. You see now the lacquered black carriage, very antique-looking, old, well-maintained, a high enameled paint that in the moonlight and the darkness, there are no fires here, but even in this darkness, you can see its reflections almost like a mirror, and you can see your face, how filthy and ragged you are. Others are here in the shadows, other of these individuals. One of them, much larger than the others. You hear that ragged, strange breathing as the abomination continues to stand there, the reek and the smell of its flesh reaching you. Brother Hayworth goes to the back of the carriage and opens it. Pulling a body from it. It falls to the ground. The man has been bound behind his arm, behind his back, and struggles to stand. Brother Hayworth does very little to stop the man from attempting desperately to stand and run away. But at that point, Lampwick, you notice that he is bleeding profusely from the ankles, and it appears as if his hamstrings have been cut. He is unable to stand and struggles on the road, crying, pleading. As blood pours from his mouth, you realize horrible things have been done to this man. Brother Hayworth pulls a small wooden box from the back, taking it and holding it momentarily to his forehead as he kneels down to it. He speaks a silent word, and then he turns, walking to you, leaving this man in the middle of the road to struggle and attempt to pull himself forward. He walks, taking this wooden box with him, sets it down, produces a small skeleton key of brass and unlocks it.
How far away am I from him?
You are perhaps 40 feet away.
As a student might, eager to learn and consume from his mentor, I'm going to approach with like a sense of like impressed awe as I watch the master and learn from him.
Lampwick, is this genuine, or are you putting on a show?
This is genuine.
Very well. He produces two items. A small silver chalice and a twisted dagger of silver with an angelic handle, wings outstretched. He looks to you and then walks over to the man struggling on the ground.
I follow.
He places one foot upon the man's back, and that is all that it takes for this poor, tortured soul to drop in exhaustion there. He leans down. And begins to remove one of the man's cheeks, cutting into it with the dagger, slowly exploring the flesh, stabbing downward. The man screams, but Brother Hayworth makes no notice of it. In fact, he seems to be caught up in an unheard song. There is rapture upon his face as he holds this man down and cuts a sizable piece of flesh off of his face. He holds the chalice under the wound and fills it, and then he stands.
I'm watching his face this whole time.
Kneel, Brother Lampwick.
I do.
There are few of us And many of them, those who walk in sin, those who stain this garden, who spread their filth and continue the rot that humanity had brought for so very long. We, Brother Lampwick, we are the cure. We carry within us the truth. And we are guided by his eternal wisdom. The prophet Malachi is here amongst us all. And I have shown you just one small glimpse at the great unyielding truth of this world. I can show you so very much more. But this will not come quickly to you.
I am very patient, and I understand. I reach my hand up to him.
He gives you the chalice.
Without breaking eye contact, I drink what's in it.
He places a hand onto your forehead as you do so. And you hear him praying. The words are strange. And he holds to your lips the ragged piece of flesh that has been torn off the dying man.
I open my mouth.
Inside of the brig, Rowan has closed and locked the door. Each of you have had moments where you could communicate with the other. Achira, you are still holding on to the radio that one of these now very dead Citadel guards was carrying. You've also taken the blade that was at their side. That blade is ×3, and you may use it as such. Moving forward, it is extremely finely crafted. A strange, very lightweight metal, black, with holes that have been strategically placed within it, yet it's still very strong, and it is razor sharp. The long handle is wrapped tightly with twine and has a blunt end that you could use to knock someone unconscious with, should you choose to do it. Juniper, you have also taken one of these blades. Lampwick, I believe you had picked up the pistol that the guard was using. The pistol that you were carrying and that pistol now both depleted.
Yes, I took the pistol from the guard and I put it on the body of the dead girl, but I'm going to probably very quickly come to a different idea of what to do.
Juniper, you had thrown the keys to these cells, had you not? You'd had given them to the other prisoners, is that correct?
I believe Achira did that.
Chira, you had passed those forward?
And they were unlocking their own cages.
Let's go to our map, and we'll discuss this further. As you can see here, each of you have a push pin that will represent your place here in the brig. This is the second story of the brig. Below is an identical set of cages. However, many of the individuals here, with the exception of those in the center aisle, are on the second floor. You can see the stairwell here as it leads you back down. Now, the doorway that Rowan has closed and locked is here. There are other closed and locked doors here. And finally, there is a door that also leads outside that still has 2 of the Citadel guards standing by it. They have their weapons drawn, but per Rowan's radio instructions, they were standing down. That is before their 2 companions were slaughtered. Achira, you had been speaking with Rowan, and the consensus was that you and you alone would walk to the door and you would negotiate with Rowan. Unfortunately, before that could happen, the 2 silent sentinels that were watching over Lampwick, who had also been locked inside of this brig, moved forward with uncanny speed and assassinated both of the guards, drawing their blades against their throats. The 2 guards have dropped now, gurgling their last breaths, dying on the floor. I'd like to know what each of your intentions are.
Are the X's with the circles around them the 2 what are we calling them? The 2 hooded men.
Guards.
Citadel guards
the Citadel
that are dead
guards
or
are the
alive?
red. Yeah, the red with white X's are the living Citadel guards.
Okay.
Any red X's are the dead.
Okay.
The 2 black X's are the silent sentinels that have killed the other 2. White X's represent anyone who is a bystander here. Mostly these are prisoners who have been locked in cages, with the exception, of course, of the 4 prisoners that you have just freed. Outside, chaos reigns. The Citadel, typically very controlled and orderly, are putting out multiple fires that have been intentionally set. Sabotage is afoot.
I'm gonna look at, let's see who's close to me. I'm gonna try to lock eyes with Lampwick and Achira if she's looking. I don't know where y'all are looking. Just try to lock eyes with either of you 2. Motion to the guard. That's the bottom left. Just go. My intent is to run over there. I don't know how much speed I have to attack that guard.
These guards are on the first floor, so you'll have to make your way down the stairwell to this walkway. And once you're here in the center walkway, you would be able to make it to them. Now, if you wanted to, you could attempt to jump the 15 feet down and immediately become engaged with them. However, you risk hurting yourself.
I will not do that because I'd like to stay with the group this time around.
An interesting choice.
I don't know.
Very well. So, is your intention then to stay with the group and
make our way out? Yeah.
Your way out. Very well. Achira, Lampwick, what is your intention?
Juniper, are you still locked up or no?
Yeah. I'm holding like a sword, but I am still like there's chains around me, right? Or were they separate chains?
No, you are cuffed to chains, but that chain is still hanging from you, and you have used it as a weapon already. You now also have a sword in your hands.
But my hand.
You're dragging about 6 feet of chain with you.
But not wrists together, wrists apart?
No, wrists together.
Oh, okay. I was confused about how I was hanging in the first
Yeah.
place. Okay.
Yeah, your wrists are together, and you
That's
do
good.
have some difficulty should you try to manipulate anything with any sort of accuracy.
I clutch my sword. I'm never letting it go.
I'm gonna go to where I had placed the gun on the dead body of the girl, because that plan is now out the window to try to stage something other than what actually happened. And I'm going to give it to Achira. This is out, mine's out. We need to take advantage of this moment and get our shit together, because they're busy right now.
You don't have a spare clip on you?
I'm gonna look. I actually think I do.
So you're going to reload?
I am gonna reload. I have pistol cartridges, so yes. And if they're of the same type, and if I have enough, I will give them to Achira so she can reload the gun that I'm handing her.
Well, they are not of the same type. So you can reload your gun, the one that
Yeah.
you are traveling with, but you cannot reload the others. However, you have yet to fully search the soldiers on the floor. So
Right.
these Citadel guards may have additional clips on them. You have only done the most cursory of work to remove their weapons and radio.
Achira's gonna look over at Juniper while deciding what to do, and says, "Take the chain and wrap it around your dominant arm. You can use it like a shield."
Okay. I mean, this is all very bad. I would like to get it off me, but
Yeah. Who's the guy that had the keys? I'm gonna go. Whoever you threw the keys to, I'm gonna go up to him.
That's the one I took out.
That's the guy that you took out. If the keys are nearby, I want to retrieve them and try to unlock Juniper's cuffs.
I gave
You
it to
start-
the prisoners.
Yeah, your intention then is to start moving forward and approach the prisoners then.
Yeah, the prisoners that are unlocking. I'm just gonna remind them, hey, we have some. We need those. We have someone that's locked up back here. Can we just use that for 1 second as you go back to do what you're doing?
Okay, before you do that, let's line up all the intentions here. Achira, did you clearly say that you were going to do something very specific, or are you going?
I did not say my intention yet.
Mhm. What would you like to do?
I'll go ahead and search the second guard for more ammo for the gun, the empty gun that I have now.
How many survival points do you have remaining?
I have 100.
How badly would you like to find ammunition?
Well, ammunition's a pretty low bar, isn't it?
Not
when the
these
guards already
days.
have the guns on them, it's like 25.
The guards are highly trained soldiers, and most likely they are carrying additional ammunition. But given the situation, can't help but think it's worth more than 25. If you give me 40, I will automatically allow you to find a full clip.
Okay.
Right. So you do retrieve a clip, and I will give you an additional boot knife for free. And you pull those items together. There's additionally, there is a small canteen of water.
Oh, that's good. I'll take that.
And you search, but we'll come back to you in the initiative order. Both Lampwick and Achira, I will have you roll, both of you, 3 blue speed die, as you're taking a little more time. Achira, you are searching this guard here, so I'm going to move you to that guard, just so that you're a little more. Actually, I'll pull him over here. Sorry, a little more visible. Lampwick, you're moving over to here, past Juniper. Juniper, are you wrapping this chain around your arm? Is that what you would like to do?
yeah, I feel like that everyone else said what they're gonna do. I should probably help them look for the key also to get me out of here. I didn't.
Lampwick has
wasn't a big
notified you that he knows where the key is and is
Okay.
actually trying to negotiate with the prisoners that have
Okay.
just been given the keys.
So you're probably fine. I guess I would try to help Lampwick do that then. I don't know that I would be any good at it, but I think I wouldn't like walk away until the key was in hand.
Okay, so you're going to continue to drag this chain behind you.
Sure.
Okay, so dragging this chain across the metal floor, making a great deal of noise, you're going to be moving closer to these prisoners. I'm also going to take 10 risk, as there's a loud clanking noise of the chain dragging across the
I thought I'd be
the metal
wasting
floor.
All right.
No, that's okay. So I need you, however, to roll 3 blue speed die, as you're going to be moving over there as well. But that's all that I need from you right now. Rowan, you are outside, and there's one gunshot that is heard, and you have locked the door, and you were in conversation with Achira, and then the radio went immediately silent. Kusanagi is standing about 10 feet away from you, scanning out across the view of the courtyard of the Citadel, and there are fires that are burning, smoke filling the air. The tank is now moving as Sharky has managed to bring it back online, and there are no longer hoots and hollers and celebratory members of your community in the center of the courtyard. Everyone is focused on putting these fires out. For a brief moment, you had seen a figure in the smoke running away from one of these fires, but you had lost track of them. You'd taken a shot. You weren't able to make it stick. It was futile. They were gone. You've been in radio communication with the rest of the base, and the order has been made. If anything happens to you inside of this brig, the entire thing is to burn to the ground. It's been getting darker now. It won't be long. But the fires that are burning throughout your community, they're keeping everything quite bright. Kusanagi looks nervous, looks to you for a moment. The radio is quiet. What would you like to do? What is your intention?
She would try and still get communication with the inside of the brig to see if anybody would answer. Any of the guards in there would. And if they did not, would she know if there was like an emergency channel? Like, there's usually walkies have different channels on them. So is there like one in particular that she would know of that would like radio the higher ups that there's an emergency situation?
If you wish to signal a code red, you may. However, that brings heavy firepower down pretty quickly. The shoot first, ask questions later type. Is that what you would like to do?
Yes. And then I feel like she would also switch back to the channel that she thinks the brig can still hear, even though they're not answering. And she would warn Achira. And she would get on and say, I don't know if you guys can hear me in there, but I just did a code red because I'm not sure what's going on. Achira, hopefully you're safe. You have not come out yet and no one's answering. Stay away from the doors if you want to not get shot in the face.
It's literally been a minute. You couldn't wait a minute?
Just so she hears that. Okay. Look, I just want to make sure everything's okay in there. Look, I got guys in there. We got a lot of code reds. I don't know who else is in there with you and who's responsible for trying to burn this place to the ground.
Are you saying I shouldn't come out now? Just come to the doors?
Is it safe to come out where you are?
Chira needs to take a look around.
All right, so while you're doing that, Rowan, go ahead and roll 3 blue speed dice. You've already made the call. Actually, no, I'm sorry, only 2 because you already had the radio in your hand. We'll come to Lampwick and Juniper as you're going to talk to the others here in just a moment. Rowan, you are on the radio. Tell me how you do on your speed.
Sorry, I'm having a bit of computer issue at the moment.
No, that's all right.
Knox, if you would go ahead and
Yeah,
roll
I can
that
roll
for
it for
me.
you. No problem at
Thank
all.
you.
You got a 5, which means that you do indeed go first. You've already signaled for the code red. You've alerted that there is an emergency at the brig, and it is a matter of minutes before whatever armed team is closest arrives here, ready to tear down whatever threat is present. You know that this is a little bit of fire and brimstone. It's going to be intense, and the signal has been made. However, given how crucially strange the communications from the inside of the brig have been, along with the gunfire and the silence that followed after, you feel confident in your choice. So that is the first thing. Is there anything else that you're going to try to do here, Rowan, while you're standing by this door? Do you wish to reposition yourself?
Yeah, I think she's gonna check and make sure that the door that she's near is in fact like locked up tight, because she did kind of like jam something even through the door handles, I think, like last time, just to make sure that on top of it being locked, even if it was like tried to force open, it couldn't get open. I think she would like check and make sure that that was as sturdy as it could be, and then try and go around the other way and either lock that up too or meet the rest of the Citadel group over there.
Yeah, you do have guards on the exterior that are able to lock that, and I will add that into your code red that they have been ordered to lock down the north and the south sides of the brig. You are currently on the south side. Okay, so with that, we're going to move down. Achira, you're operating on 10. You do find a full clip. There's the boot knife and a canteen, and you gather those items, and you are searching the body. You don't find anything else initially, but that is what you're doing. You're also hearing the crackle of the radio as Rowan and you begin your conversation. Is there anything that the two of you wish to say to each other before I move over to Lampwick and Juniper?
I guess just the conversation we just had.
Mm-hmm.
So then at the end of that, Achira would then start to look around, because it's weird to then hear, "Are you safe in there?" And it's just like, wait, what? So she'd start to look around. Her intention was going to be to head down to where Rowan was, but I'm guessing that would change.
Right. Okay. Before Lampwick is able to make his way over to the other prisoners, Juniper, you're standing right behind him. You see the 4 of them. Some of them are in shadow. It's fairly dark here. Again, there is only a very few electric lights that are being powered by a generator somewhere within this building. In fact, you can hear a muted rumble of an engine somewhere. And there's very faint flickering light that is casting in this very dark brig. There are no windows here. There are only the 2 doors. And the entire thing has been built out of an enormous metal warehouse with old shipping shelving that has been built and stacked together. The floor itself is a series of caging that is thick metal, and you can see all the way down. There's movement from other individuals, and the 2 of you begin moving towards these prisoners that have just used the keys that Achira threw them, and they are newly freed. The man that you see with the keys is a younger individual with kind of wild red-dyed hair that is spiked straight out of the back. And even though it's filthy and it looks like it's been sort of mussed, it used to perhaps stand in a full mohawk. However, now it's drooped down and looks sort of like the back feathers of a strange bird. And he's got a very sharp-looking nose and wide eyes. Tattoos are stretched across his neck and his arms, and he is wearing bright sashes of color that are dirty, that have been stitched back together, and they are neon patches and symbols and other emblems that have been emblazoned upon his garb. His pants are old military, and he is the only one that is not wearing the same very simple prison garb that the others are wearing. So he probably hasn't been here long, much like Achira. However, Juniper and all of the others are wearing what effectively is hospital scrubs that have been kind of cleaned up as best as possible. They're kind of a faded blue color. And the others, there are 3 other individuals, 2 of which are fairly small. You think that they are female presenting, and there is a man, an older man, who is just now freed from his cage as the others are stumbling with the lock. And as you start moving forward, the strange sort of brightly colored tattooed man turns towards you, and you can see he's about to say something when he looks down and sees what's happening off of this balcony. The 2 guards' bodies drop, and immediately these other 2 figures, who you see, Lampwick, with their perfect white, featureless masks, begin walking directly towards the other 2 guards on the far side of this warehouse. Gunfire erupts as the guards begin shooting at them, seeing what has happened. Before you do anything else, Lampwick, Juniper, I have to ask you if you still wish to negotiate for the keys, but you hear over the radio, Rowan.
Rudar and Stryker are down. We've got... They just killed them.
She'll get on the radio and say, "You killed who?"
Not us. We didn't kill anyone, boss. It was those masked freaks.
I had a feeling that might be something that happens. All right, good to know. Are you all right in there?
You don't hear anything else, as you just hear more gunfire now that erupts from the inside. Lampwick and Juniper, do you wish to stay with your intention?
I definitely need the key, I think. I don't know.
If I see Juniper there going for the keys, then I'm going to let Juniper take that over, and I'm going to go back to where I last saw the radio, which was with Achira. And I'm going to try to communicate through Achira to Rowan.
Okay, so you've changed your intention. You now walk over to where Achira is.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings us to the very end of our initiative round. The intentions have been completed. Everyone has acted. However, I am going to spend 200 risk.
I hope it's not something really good for us that helps us.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's where Nox lives. Spending risk on things that are really good and help us.
The dead soldier in front of you, Achira, grabs at you.
I shoot it in the head.
All right. We will come to you.
Technically, I didn't do anything, did I? I just walked. Like I didn't really do an action.
Yeah, you were still walking towards the
Yeah, the prisoners, but
towards
that
the
wasn't.
individual.
That was the action then.
Yeah.
That was okay.
Yeah. So you have cut the distance. You're now in front of the individuals with the key. The man that you started walking towards, the one that hadn't been put into prison garb quite yet, had held out his arms, you know, kind of like thrown his hands up just as you got really close. But before anything else could be done, you hear very clearly. As the dead guard that you have been searching, Shira, lunges towards you, grabbing onto you. I do need you to make a dodge check for me, please.
Trying to see if anything goes into that, and I think that's just a straight dodge. Okay. All right. It'll be fine.
One degree of success. Do you wish to stay with 1 degree of success, knowing that this is a contested action?
No.
All right. What would you like to do?
I will. I'll add in a competency point. Whoa! Oh, so previously we were in a secure location where on the second level where we had taken out the guards and were freeing prisoners. Now within this location with this guard now being active as the undead, therefore we can assume that other guards taken out can also be undead. Wouldn't that make this a location hazard?
Yes, these individuals are clearly infected and rising from the dead. I am going to allow you to count this as a location hazard, but I will tell you that most likely everyone here is going to rise from the dead. So you are going to be dealing with a number of these Romeros.
I'll put in 2 competency points then to make it 3 success.
All right. So you're going to put in 2 competency points, and you're going to make it 3 successes, which is going to actually, the Romero on the ground has 2 degrees of success, which gives you 1 degree over what you need, which makes your dodge successful. You have just barely backed away as it grasps at you and struggles to pull itself forward. Its eyes now blank, and its freshly pale, dead flesh reanimated, moving forward with hunger and hate. You step back. The other 2 figures on the floor, including the prisoner that was locked with Juniper, known as High C, begins moving and struggling to stand as you hear they begin
on the radio
moving.
I'm gonna say to Rowan, we've got Romeros.
Yeah, I figured it would about be that time for that to start happening. It's why I asked if you were safe. Can you get away from them and to the other door?
We can try. You know how quick these things can be when they get really determined.
We need help.
Lampwick, you are close now. You have chosen to move closer to Achira. However, there is a Romero between you and her. And then, I'm sorry, Juniper, you're actually over here now. Let's start with Juniper. Juniper, you're standing in front of this man, and he looks to you, and he's looking over at the dead, and the keys are behind him with one of the other prisoners.
Real quick, I'm gonna need those keys. None of you guys are chained up, and I did We did technically give them to you. Just real quick, we're gonna have to fight these.
We've got to get people out of here.
This one first. I have a weapon. Come on.
They need freedom.
I gave you the keys. I'm the one who gave you the keys. I run over. I don't know. I was gonna try to run over and grab them. Then whatever.
You're gonna just grab the keys. All right.
Nope.
All right. Well, before anyone can make any decisions in the confusion of the moment, you push forward, and we will deal with that as we turn around here into our next turn. However, as I said before, these individuals have moved forward. They're about here now. They do not seem to be slowing down. The gunfire that is erupting around them has not stopped them. And they have continued to press forward as they very quickly charge the distance here. Now, we're going to start another round of combat, but before we do, I need to ask each of you one more time, given the situation as it stands, what is your intention? We'll start with Rowan. Rowan, you're still on the other side of the door. You don't know how long it's going to take for that code red to drop, but it will drop, and it will not be very long. That doesn't mean that there will be heavily armored soldiers that will be diverting their attention away from the fires and the other sabotage within the Citadel and moving to this area. Kusanagi, again, has a gun in his hand and is scouring the streets and the courtyard in front of you, protectively ready to fire in a moment's notice.
She would like to keep moving to the other door that she told Achira to get to. She is aware that she has pulled soldiers away from doing the other thing, but she still, I feel, has this like deep-seated feeling that somehow the shepherds are involved in this. So she definitely wants to make sure that she's got some heavily armored guys with her in case they try some fuck shit when they get out of there, or if they try to escape. She wants to make sure that like none of them can like really make it too far without a proper interrogation.
Right.
And yeah, she's going to keep heading to the door though that she told Achira to meet her at.
Okay, you are still at the door, and you've actually managed to ensure that it is properly locked and taken care of. Do you want to stay there, or do you want to move to a different area?
So she locked the one that she was initially at, correct? She would want to walk to the other one that she told Achira to meet her at.
That is the door that you are currently at. The
okay.
The north side entrance was the other one that you radioed to have locked up. You had requested, this is the same door that they were led into, so you had followed it back. And Kusanagi's sort of looking at you. You can make a detect motive check if you'd like.
I will, and while I'm kind of looking him over, I will tell him to just keep your gun kind of pointed in here until the rest of backup shows up, in case one of the Romeros gets out first, or in case they get close and it tries to take them down. No need to make this get any more complicated than it already is.
All right. Okay, so you have 3 degrees of success on your detect motive, and you think that Kusanagi has, he's very good about hiding his emotions. You know he's a bit of a manipulator. You've already clocked that in this this strange survivor, this tape trader, this rag and bone wizard that has been brought back here, who's been able to do some very good things for the Citadel. However, he's now looking at you with just a bit of a sidelong glance, and you can see that he does not trust you. After you slam those doors and lock them, he's being very cautious around you.
Look, kid, I know this all seems a bit rough, but again, one of them in there has already cost us our doctor, and now my face. And we don't know what these shepherds are up to yet. As much as I want to trust Lampwick, and as much as I got no beef with Achira, we got to make sure that they are not the ones responsible for this. And she gestures vaguely off into the back where all the fires are coming from.
Oh, I understand. I just, well, you made a choice very quickly, and those shepherds that are in there, um, you know, they walked ahead of us, and now they're just trapped in there. We don't know exactly what's going on, and I don't feel really comfortable knowing that, we're in the dark here. They could be doing anything. I mean, what if they're working together?
I have a slight feeling they are, but I figured it might actually make them feel a little more comfortable if they had eyes on Lampwick, maybe to not do something screwed up. Or this could have in turn backfired. Not really sure, but look, kid, when you spend time in the military, quick thinking is kind of the only difference between life or death.
Oh, I understand. I've had to do a fair share of quick thinking myself to survive. And, you know, if you want my opinion, you need those people in there. Achira, Lampwick, Juniper, I don't think that what they bring to the table is inconsiderable. I mean, I know we all have a lot to work out, but, maybe we want to find a way to de-escalate this instead of, pushing an entire armed patrol on them.
I'm more worried about the shepherds than I am, like I said, Chira or Lampwick. I'm worried about them, and I'm worried about not having communication with some of my soldiers anymore. A lot of them have not answered back, which means something's going down in there, and neither you nor I know what that is, so it's best to be on our full guard.
And I mean, while you're saying this, there's at least 3 more shots that are fired, and there are shouts. The inside of the brig, all of you see these individuals. For a moment, they're in these dark hoods and these clothes that are tightly wrapped around their bodies, and they move very quickly through this passageway. You lose sight of them in the darkness of this place a number of times, and the gunfire continues, and there are flashes as you hear the pistols of the Citadel Guard fire multiple times. Then you hear nothing as the gunfire stops. You are surrounded by a number of dead that are making the change. They are now Romero. Juniper, you are surrounded by other prisoners trying to grab the keys. What I'd like for you to do, first and foremost, is to make for me, unless you have a specialty skill that you would like to use, I will say you should make let's call it a lift pull as you're trying to snatch these keys away from them. It's going to be a contested roll. Make a lift pull check with only 1 blue die as you are very quickly just snatching them forward. They were not expecting that. I will have them roll 2 blue die, but they're also going to make a lift pull to try and retain control of the keys.
Cool. Real cool. Real cool.
That is 4 degrees of failure, and you are on a speed 5. So you do very quickly step forward. However, this other individual who is holding on to these keys looks to you, and she looks fairly normal. She has brown hair. It's been pulled back tightly. She's broad-shouldered. She has a round face and big, kind of bright eyes that you can see immediately look to you in shock and a little bit of surprise as you grab onto the keys as she's attempting to unlock this final door that's up here. And you snatch at the keys from her. She pulls them back unless you would like to spend competency to change that.
I'm just gonna let this thing happen.
Okay, so she pulls the keys back. What are you doing?
I can fight these things. You have to let me go.
She looks nervously to the others. All right, I'll do what I can. She then begins moving through the keys and is attempting keys on your wrists. And you hear from the individual that has that red dropped mohawk behind you, "We don't have time. Others need out. We have to move quick. They are not going to let us stay."
They're safe they're safe in those cages with the Romeros out. Look, these people are all turning.
"You waste our time. Big bum. This is not a good thing for us."
Well, I just don't want to die, but okay, if you are all fine with it, then I guess I'll fight with my hands attached to themselves, and good luck to you guys.
So the other individual, she is still trying to unlock, but she's trying to unlock your handcuffs, but she looks desperate and is sort of looking between the two of you, trying to decide who to listen to. So if you want, Juniper, you can make either a persuade, or you can try to intimidate.
I will use persuade.
Okay, so go ahead and roll your persuade, please. And we'll see which of you is more persuasive. This other individual speaks roughly and is clearly also a wild one, uneducated and rough, and doesn't speak with the same smooth language that others do. However, you have 3 degrees of failure. Do you wish to keep that?
I will spend 4 of my competency points on this to make it 1 success.
All right, so you do succeed, and the other individual has failed as well. So she looks over at the other individual and sort of looks back to you. I believe you can fight, so we'll get you out of this." And she begins jostling the keys as the other individual is like, "Fuck it," and just starts like looking around, trying to find things to grab to use as a weapon, and is starting to move over this way, move over this way and try to find something. So you've got a number of the prisoners here. They're not interested in really dealing with the dead right now, unarmed, so they are holding back. You are waiting as this woman continues to try to find the right keys, searching for them. Lampwick and Achira, what are your intentions here?
How
So if I-
active?
Go
Well,
ahead.
first, how active are the Romeros? Are we talking they're still on the ground, twitching and looking around? Are we talking they just did like a Jackie Chan flip up and are on their feet looking at us right now? Like,
There is
what's
no such
the state
thing
of these?
that you've seen as of yet. You've never seen a Romero, as you say, leap up like Jackie Chan. However, these dead are recently awoken. They are moving slowly. They are pulling themselves up. Their wounds are gaping and they're still covered in blood. It is slow. However, you were very close to that soldier, and the soldier's initial reflex was to grab onto you. So the answer to your question is they are slow moving.
Okay. I'm still going to, since this one's right there in front of me, I'm still going to go for, like, I'm going to shoot it in the head. Like, it's right there. It grabbed at me. Shoot it in the head.
All right, so your intention is to shoot the dead Romero right in the head. I'd like for you to go ahead and make your pistol roll. You had the gun in your hand, so you don't have to worry about drawing it. Go ahead and do that with 2 blue speed die.
Even I had 1 degree of success left over from my previous dodge roll. Is there any way that I can knock down 1 of the speed dice for that?
No, I'm sorry, you cannot. We're in a new turn here, and that will not translate over for you.
Okay. The pistol that I've gotten from the guard, does it have a modifier on it?
It is times. This is the guard's pistol.
This is the guard's pistol
Times
with his
it's times
ammo.
3. It's very well maintained.
Thank goodness, because I have no bonuses in pistol. So
Again, the Citadel weaponry is of a higher caliber than most that you would find in the wild. 1 degree of success. You strike the Romero, however, you do not shoot it in the head. We'll come back and resolve the damage on that shortly. Lampwick, what is your intention?
If I'm understanding this map, the way down is on the other side of Achira, away from. Got it. So
This stairwell here, you can lead down. You can, if you wish to jump 15 feet down, you can just jump down from this railing that's along the side.
Lampwick is surprisingly calm. I'm going to walk over the Romero that's right in front of me, and I'm going to look down if he's starting to wiggle and move, and I'm going to calmly say, "Not me," as I keep walking past him towards Achira.
All right. You move past the Romero towards Achira, and a hand grabs at your ankle. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. Please don't go anywhere. There's much yet to discover about this situation, and you, in our audience, have been making some very pointed decisions that may affect exactly how this situation within the brig resolves itself. Thank you for being with us. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Welcome back to Outbreak Undead, Rag and Bone on twitch.tv/Hunters Entertainment. We appreciate you joining us tonight. Our survivors are in the middle of a very tense engagement. The dead are rising around them. The Citadel soldiers have gone quiet. They are locked inside a metal building with only 2 doors, no windows, surrounded by metal cages and recently freed prisoners, of which all of the survivors know very, very little. There is a low rumble somewhere in the darkness as the lights flicker and then go out. The last thing that had occurred, Lampwick, you had begun passing by the dead, and for a moment nothing happened, but the dead guard lying on the ground now has grabbed onto your ankle. Juniper, you are currently handcuffed, and you are working with one of the prisoners to try to free yourself. Rowan, you're on the outside of the building with Kusanagi, another survivor, an electronics wizard who has managed to make enormous improvements to this place. However, your community, your sanctuary, your home burns around you, as someone is responsible for the sabotage that has taken place here. You have your thoughts as to who might be responsible, but currently your focus is on this building, the brig, where all of the collected prisoners are brought. These individuals are scattered from a wide variety of communities. Most have incurred some minor infraction, something that they have done to offend or impinge upon the freedoms of Citadel members. Some, however, well, in the apocalypse, the real monsters They don't always walk shambling in hordes. Achira, Lampwick, and Juniper, what are your intentions?
I think I'd like to help this girl somehow find the right key by using my tools skill.
Yes, you can help. So go ahead and roll your tools skill. I'm going to have you roll 5 blue speed die, as there are many keys on this chain, on this ring. You're not familiar with any of them. You can use your tool skill to make educated guesses as to what the right key is.
Would this be a what girl would it be though? I'm trying. I can add tools to something. So
you can add it to a spot listen check.
okay, that seems fair. Let's do this.
I will take that back.
Oh.
And I will have you make it a search check with this tool.
Even better. All right. Tools. Okay. Oh, thank God.
That is 5 degrees of success. Congratulations. You grab the keys out of her hands and she is shocked. However, you are operating on a 12. So we'll see what happens next. Achira, what would you like to do?
Well, previously, I had it where I was shooting the Romero.
Yes.
But
you have fired at the Romero, and the Romero has taken damage. You did not strike it in the head. With 1 degree of success, you have hit it in center mass, and blood begins to darken in a pool on its uniform as it stumbles back as it was trying to stand and is now a little further away from you. It is still very active, though.
Lampwick is right behind me, yeah?
That is correct.
I want to grab Lampwick and the two of us go in the cage and shut the door.
All right.
My thought is, if we can get in this cage and shut the door, then we can shoot the Romero through the gate.
Understandable. I will have you make a lift pull to drag Lampwick into this cage with you.
Would it be possible to perhaps do something? What is the expression skill?
It wouldn't help you get Lampwick into the cage quickly. If your goal is to physically pull him in, it would be in fact a lift pull. However, if you give me a single competency point, we can forego the roll.
You are the devil.
So I've been told.
Lift pull is horrible for me. Okay. I'm giving you 1 competency point to just pull Lampwick into the cell and closing the door, keeping in mind that it's not locking because the keys aren't there for it to lock. Just
Indeed. It will not be locked. However, I want you to roll 3 blue dice for me. With that, you will be moving on a 12, which is the same moment that Juniper will be acting. Lampwick, you're being pulled, but what else would you like to do? Tell me your intention.
Well, I am here with this Romero, and I'm telling it to stand down. I want to take a moment. It grabbed me. I want to see if I can notice any change in it and its intention towards me.
Make a spot listen check.
Could this be a detect motives check?
I'll allow that. Yes.
Okie dokie. I would like to spend 2 competency points to.
You have
convert
rolled a single degree of failure, but you're going to spend 2 competency points to make it a single degree of failure or success.
Right.
With a
Now-
single degree of success, it will allow you to know something different, right?
Well, if this is detect motives and it is a diplomacy roll, then that makes that 4 degrees of success.
Right. I'm not going to allow that. This is not a living
Fair enough.
creature. This is a thing that has animated itself beyond its death. It is slavering on the floor. I wouldn't call it diplomacy. But the thought is interesting as to how you might be able to bend your skills to such uses in the future. Meanwhile, however, with a single degree of success to determine the motivation of this creature, this Romero, it is confused.
If I have a moment, then I will start to like pull away from it. But probably at that point, I feel myself get tugged.
Well, this is all happening very quickly. I do want you to roll for me 2 blue speed dice as well, as
Copy
you're
that.
trying to pay attention to all of this. It's a 5, so you're going to notice this very quickly. Rowan, outside, are you still manning the door, protecting the door? You've got the radio in your hand. You're in communication with both the soldiers on the other side. You're not hearing anything else from the soldiers on the inside. They have gone radio silent.
Is there a window in this door?
There is no window. There are no windows in the brig at all. There is a slot that is pulled back from the inside when someone approaches. It is made of metal. It is currently closed and locked.
I'm gonna look over at Kusanagi. This isn't looking real good for them, but man, all I can do is hope Achira has that walkie on her. When she gets close, she's gonna let us know. And then I think you and I, we open these doors. When backup arrives, we shoot the dead, we grab the living.
I think that's a good call. I think taking care of these people and using them as resources, it's the right thing to do, Rowan. I know you're upset, especially Juniper, for, well, your face. But
And the doctor. Everyone forgets the damn doctor.
I was there. I remember the doctor. I saw what she did. She's dangerous. I think they're all dangerous, but that doesn't mean that they don't have value. We could use them. I could build you those collars, and we could send them to try to follow those coordinates. Maybe discover exactly what Blockbuster was hiding. I know you don't think that that's the most important thing, but trust me when I say that man, he may be dead, but what he knew and the things that he was hiding in his safe house, it could mean a lot for the Citadel.
All right, then look, Kusanagi, I'll deal with Achira and Lampwick. You deal with Juniper then. I'm not dealing with that. I'm not doing that shit again. That's your girl. You don't want me to put a bullet between her eyes. You're responsible for her.
Agreed. I think I can do that. I don't trust her either, but I'll figure it out. It's, and if we have to get rid of one of them, we'll get rid of her.
Yeah. And I will try to radio Achira just one more time and be like, I don't have eyes on you yet.
Your radio crackles again, Achira, as you grab Lampwick and pull back into the cell. We'll deal with all this in a moment. Do me a favor, Rowan. Roll me a single blue speed die so that I know when that radio call happens.
I don't know what it is.
Oh, I'll roll it for
Not doing
you,
it
my
for me.
friend. Yeah, let me help you out. You have a 2, so you are going first. The very first thing that happens is as you're pulling Lampwick, you hear this crackle of the radio. You don't have to respond right away, Achira. If you wish to keep your intention as it is, you can wait to respond to the radio until you, Lampwick, are inside of the cage with the door closed. All right? Or you can respond now and stop your intention.
What speed did Rowan get?
It's 2, so it's the very beginning. As stuff starts happening.
Understand. I'll do my intention because I spent competency point on it.
Yeah.
And then for the next one, it'll be me responding.
Okay, great. So, Lampwick, you are watching this thing on the ground as it turns. It's grabbed onto your leg, and yeah, you almost feel sorry for this Romero as it struggles back to life. You watch. It's like it's being born in front of you, and it's in pain. Its eyes are rolling, and you think that there's even some small recognition of who they once were, and then it's gone, and there's an emptiness in the face, a slackness. It grabs feebly at your pant leg, and then before anything else happens, you are pulled into the cage by Achira, and the door is slammed in your face. And you're still watching as this Romero climbs forward and puts a hand on the cage and sort of draws it across as if it were trying to reach you again.
I'm going to stay right by that cage.
Juniper, you grab the keys and you immediately grab the right key. You think you see the right one. You press it into your cuffs and you turn, and there's a snap, and the handcuffs open and they drop to the ground. And then the lights go out. There's a spark, and now you're in pitch blackness. You hear if you hadn't noticed, my risk wasn't just for a handful of Romeros or perhaps your enemies or allies that are with the shepherds. You are in a warehouse. It is completely dark. The dead are rising around you. The crackle of the radio. Rowan, you're free to talk to Achira if you wish.
I don't have eyes on you yet, Achira.
I don't have eyes on anything. The lights just went out in here. Along with that, I saw shepherds taking out your men. Now I'm locked in a cage. Well, now I'm in a cage. And it's pitch black, and there's Romeros in here. I don't think I'm making it to that door anytime soon.
What's it look like in there? How much backup do you need?
I've got at least 3 Romeros near me. If those shepherds took down your men that are on the bottom floor, that's going to be at least 4 more. And that's assuming that these Romeros don't take out any of the other prisoners that are up here as well.
Shit. All right.
It was literally a minute, Rowan. It was a minute.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you're stuck in there right now, with things that were already in there, its best backup is on the way. Let me see if I can get a way to shed a little light on your situation in there without jeopardizing the rest of the Citadel. And if so, we'll try and come in and get you out. But Achira, all I ask is that you and I get to have a heart-to-heart as soon as we get you out of there, before you go run off.
Really sorry to interrupt you, Rowan, but I just recently upgraded the generator inside of the brig, and if the power went out, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I had that thing fueled up, and it was clocking along at a good speed. It shouldn't be dead. Somebody must have cut the line.
Yeah, there's a lot of uncool, sabotagey type shit going on right now, Kusanagi. I'm not really sure what to make of it. Didn't get a good look at the guy running away, so again, could be anybody at this point. I hate not knowing things.
All right. There are more movements in the dark around you. Lampwick, Achira, you are behind a cage. Juniper, you're out in the open with a number of these prisoners, and it is very, very dark. Before we do anything else, knowing that you realize your situation, do you know what I'm going to ask you to roll?
Spot listen.
A composure check, please.
Nutso. All right. While I'm rolling this, did we establish Romero's can see in the dark? I don't remember if we've had this conversation in this game before.
Romeros operate on many different senses. Their sight does not seem to be their primary driving force. Some of them stumble blindly through the world, attacking and grabbing and eating at everything that they run into. Some do seem to react to noise, smell, and sight. As to whether or not they can see in the dark, you've never encountered Romero that seemed particularly skilled at it. But when there are enough of them in a small space, it very much does not matter.
Okay, well, I rolled 1 success. Which is good, I guess.
You manage to keep your cool, Juniper, and you take a deep breath, and while you feel threatened, while there is a pounding in your ears and everything begins to drone for a moment, you do not lose any time. You are still here. At the very end of all of this, there is the screeching of tires outside as a large military truck slams on the brakes in the front of the brig. Riggs is on the back of the truck, along with 5 armed soldiers. The driver, after allowing them time to leap off of the back, pulls away, a cloud of dust billowing after them as they pull around to the other side to transport 2 additional soldiers. Riggs is very hastily throwing an ammo belt around his shoulder and adjusting his automatic rifle as he looks to you. Well, what the fuck is going on here? Come on, Rowan. I thought you had this in hand.
Yeah, well, see, there's a lot going on in there that I'm not really sure. We've lost communications from the inside. There's a lot of noise coming from the back. Some of the people that we had as prisoners here are now in possession of the walkies, and I still don't trust those shepherd sons of bitches. They're in there too, by the way. They killed 2 of our men.
I hear you loud and clear. And listen, you're still my A number 1 with a bullet, but I gotta say right now, seriously, this whole place is going foobar. We got a shitload of work to do. I don't know, but let's do this. Are you ready? You got any other intel before we bust into here?
See, Shepard's killed 2 of our men. Achira and it sounds like Lampwick talking in the background. I think they're together somewhere, trapped in there.
Again, all right, I'm just shooting that fucker right in the head. I'm done with it. Shepherds are not him, and those masked freaks, they're on my kill list.
I feel like that's valid at this point.
I just want to say, like, I don't want to get in the middle of this. Kusanagi literally gets in the middle of this. I just want to say that if Lampwick is operating as a sort of an intermediary for that group, and all of you decide to execute him, if he doesn't come back, I think that might look bad on all of us. I'm just saying, like, maybe you want to think that through. Also, you didn't quite say it, Rowan, but the somebody's cut the power So there might be more going on here than we know.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. Riggs, all of this I feel like is tied together. I feel like maybe possibly the same person responsible for blowing that up could be very well in this building. We got make one entrance, one exit. Let's kill the dead, grab the living, figure out what the fuck is going on and who's doing this.
All right, look, I'm with you, all right? However, I gotta say, I'm gonna get my ass chewed, you're gonna get your ass chewed. Management is not gonna be fucking pleased. We've put ourselves on the line here, and there are fucking soldiers dead. If we don't have a real good fucking line on what happened and we don't put this to bed fast, we might be swimming. You read me?
It's exactly what I'm trying to figure out for your ass and my ass.
All our good work doesn't mean shit, all right?
Yeah.
We've been through too much together. Let's fucking do this. And like I said, that lamp was mine. And he like pulls the hammer back and just like starts to push forward towards the door as the other soldiers kind of close in. They're lined up. One of them steps forward and he looks back at them and they pull down a set of night vision goggles. Open the door.
Rowan will open it, and she'll
Okay.
have her gun drawn before she does, just getting ready to like shoot anything that might be about to come out at her.
That is going to bring us back around. So what we're going to do is we're going to take intentions as we are setting ourselves up for the door to open. The door will not open until your turn. All right, Rowan. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Juniper. Juniper, you're in the dark. You've kept yourself calm. However, you hear the others around you, the other prisoners, start to panic. You hear kind of shouts and, what the hell? What the fuck is going on? Oh no, I told you this was a bad idea. As you feel bodies chaotically start pressing around you, Juniper. Those prisoners that were alongside you are in full panic mode. So you have a couple of options here. If you would like to try to maneuver yourself or change your position or create some light or do something, you have a very short period of time before this very small clutch of prisoners pushes past you and takes some of your choices away.
Since I knew the position of the Romeros before the lights went out, which are to my left,
Yes.
I'm gonna get as far as I can to the far right against that railing.
Over here, yeah? You're
yes.
gonna push yourself over? All right.
Yeah, so if they're pushing the other way, I don't care anymore. They can die if they want to. Would my whole action be going over there, or could I do something else?
No, you can move over there, and if you have a plan, just let me know what it is, and I'll assign you speed dice accordingly. You can even do multiple things if you have multiple actions that you wish to do.
I think if I sense something coming near me, I would try to like hang myself off that edge there to go down to this other level.
You're gonna hang off the ledge and then drop. Or
yeah, if drop if I feel like something's coming towards me, I wouldn't
Okay.
jump if not.
Okay. So you're gonna be ready to go. If something starts pushing past you, if you start to feel like you're in danger, you're gonna go down to the first level.
Yep.
First thing I want you to do is make a spot listen check, and after you do that, I'm going to have you make a roll that will determine exactly how that goes for you.
Oof, it's 1 degree of failure.
Okay, so there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of shouting around you. The figures and bodies pushing around you. They're shuffling. You hear the creaking of the cage as a chair has just slammed it shut and continues to press against it. What would you like to do with that 1 degree of failure?
I would say that as I'm backing to or moving to the right, probably I stumble, I trip over someone. Just it's 1 degree
Okay.
of failure. It's pretty small.
Yeah, you don't hurt
So leave it.
yourself. You do
Yeah.
stumble and fall, and that's going to prevent you from getting the full way over. So Jennifer, I'm going to move you over to here. You've got 2 individuals on either side of you still. There was a very there was the older man that was released last. There is you move past the individual that was still wearing street clothes and the dark-haired girl. There is another girl that you didn't get a close view of, but she was very quiet. She was withdrawn, and she kind of stayed away from everyone else. Hard to see. And you feel her hair brush against your shoulder as you fall, and you're now lying on the floor. So you stumbled. You're up against. You kind of scrape your arms up a little bit as you fall onto the rough metal caging of the floor, and we'll leave you right there. All right,
Okay.
that's as far as you will have gotten. Do me a favor. Make a dodge roll as well, but I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Chira, Lampwick, what are your intentions, please?
It's pitch black. Is that right?
It's very, very much pitch black.
I'm near the fence where the Romero is, and I'm listening intently.
Mm-hmm.
And I say to Achira, "Don't be afraid. Just come a little bit closer." And I'm going to turn to the Romero, and I'm going to say, "We're not the ones. The others that you should go for are about to come in. We're not the ones." And I'm just going to stay there, and I'm going to keep talking to this Romero calmly and stay focused on that.
Achira, how do you react to this as you hear Lampwick's voice, and his hand is still clearly on this cage, and you hear the Romero rattling it, trying to get through? What do you do?
Achira's in the camp of what the fuck? With that, she's going to turn away, disconcerted. She's going to turn away from where Lampwick is next to her, where he's. She remembers Digger and how Digger could travel amongst Romeros. She never saw Digger talking to the Romeros. So she's going to keep that in mind while she turns away from what she feels would have been an easy kill to try to headshot that Romero that's rattling the fence. She's instead going to try to guesstimate the other Romero, the one that she had shot in the chest before, while it was getting up. She knows how tall the guard is because she killed him with, the knife that she now has. So with that, she's going to angle in the dark to then go for another shot at that same guard.
All right. I'd like for you to make your pistol roll. I would ask that you put 5 black dice on top of that, please.
Damn.
You are shooting in the dark inside of a cage.
That's literally the most difficulty dice that you can do for anything. Wow.
If you had a special skill or you were a trained blind gun person, maybe I would be a little more forgiving, but I don't think that you spent time in a sideshow or some sort of specialized shooting academy. It's very hard to do.
I will say this, that we have established that Achira prefers the dark. Whenever she's had any opportunity to travel, it's always been her sleeping during the day and proceeding forward at night. She is one with darkness and one with shadows. She sleeps in trees. To be elevated, she'll choose stealth over confrontation.
I'll tell you what. Make a spot listen check. I will add 2 black dice to that. And if you get enough successes, I will consider lowering that difficulty.
Okay.
3 degrees of success is very good. I will allow you to roll this shot. Despite the chaos and the screaming around you, you focus and you listen very carefully for that Romero. The gun is held in front of you. You know where Lampwick is, and you know roughly the size of the cage. You may roll now with 3 black dice of difficulty. That is the best that I can do for you.
Okay. All right. Let's do this. Damn it!
That is 5 degrees of failure. Achira, I can't help but think that you and I should have a conversation about exactly how this goes wrong. I have so many thoughts.
I'm
Would
sure you do.
like to do something about the severity of this failure?
Yes. Yes, because I don't want to end up ricocheting and hitting either myself or a friendly right now. So, yeah, I will utilize. Oh my gosh, I'll utilize competency points to make this less of a failure. I'm still going to keep the failure.
How many degrees of failure are you going to remove with competency points?
I'm gonna use 2 to only make it a 3.
That is still a very bad failure, but it is not a catastrophic failure.
That are still a really bad failure.
Mm.
Okay, I'll use 3 to make it 2 degrees.
There is the sound of a ricochet, and it does not hit you or Lampwick. It rattles off in this metal building, and you hear at least 2 other impacts as it hits metal more than once. It echoes throughout the space.
I'm guessing I shouldn't do that again.
Yeah, why don't you just join me over here and let's keep quiet and listen.
We can't stay here no matter what Rowan's intentions are, and I don't believe they're bad for Rowan. We
But you don't
can't
trust the
still
Citadel.
be here when Citadel gets here.
No, I would like to get out of here too. I just don't know the way out. I can't see in the dark, and it's dangerous out there. And I don't know where Juniper is. We got to get out of here now. If you have a way out, let me know.
Besides running out into the dark, after a while, our eyes should be more focused, but that's going to take a little time. Like adjusted. Oh God, June. Achira's going to be like, June, it might be best to get into a cage if you can hear me.
I'm totally fine. We should probably be quiet, though.
Seems to be coming from the ground. Your radio crackles loudly, Achira.
Yo, any Citadel forces in there, you better pull the fuck back. You know what's going down. This is a round robin. 5574. Giddy up.
Achira does the radio. Can you just be quiet for a second? We're in the dark with Romero's. Over. Oh, Achira, would she know what all of that meant since she was part of the Citadel before?
You weren't part of the Citadel at this evolution of the base. It was different. Yeah, something's nagging at you, though, Achira. Something doesn't sit right. You don't know why. Something in the back of your head itches. Juniper, You're on the ground. Lampwick, you're inside this cage communicating with this Romero, it seems. Achira, you just fired. You got the radio in your hand. You're making a lot of noise in here. The Romeros are standing. You hear them all now. No less than 3 or maybe 4. What? Let go of me! And then you hear screams. Right behind you, Juniper. You hear someone hitting the ground. And then the surprise scream turns into a blood-curdling scream of pain. No! Everything below is not quiet. There is also the sound of groans. As below on the first floor, somewhere in this darkness, the soldiers that had their throats slit are standing as if they were made intentionally into these new soldiers for a fully different cause. However, at the end of this round, there is a momentary break in the darkness as the doors open. Rowan, you've unlocked the doors. Riggs and the soldiers enter in military formation. A number of them have lights. They're shining, these heavy, old flashlights that have homemade batteries attached to the side. They're not small things. They're bulky, difficult to wield. However, they're holding their automatic rifles alongside them as they sweep across the pathway before them. You see from behind them 2 of the guards turning, wet, slick blood across their front of their uniform, their faces pale. They've been bled out. Somebody slit their throats, and now their eyes are dead, as they're now Romeros. They turn, broken like jagged marionettes, and start slowly walking towards the unit. There are 2 quick, merciful gunshots, and they drop like ragdolls. As you enter, your intention was to stay close, is that correct?
Yeah, I will stay part of the formation with my gun drawn.
Kusanagi does not enter. He remains on the outside. You have taken a position in the rear of this unit as it moves forward. It is a formation. You are going to gain benefits for that. So, is there anything that you wish to do as we begin our new round? What is your intention?
Rowan is keeping her eye out for Achira because she knows Riggs is in there looking for Lampwick, and she kind of feels like Juniper's probably going to figure a way out of this, like she usually does somehow. So she kind of feels sound of mind that Kusanagi will keep his eye out for her.
All right. Make a spot listen check, please. Two degrees of success is very good. You hear the crackle of a radio somewhere to your left and above. You know generally where Juniper and Achira were to be housed. There weren't many cells that were left open. It's just a matter of process of elimination as to which cells they would be using. So it does make sense to you that they are most likely further back towards the north door on the second floor. First and second cell, most likely. Maybe the third. The door is left open to allow some small amount of light to enter into the space. While Kusanagi doesn't come with you, he does fumble with a set of keys, working to try to unlock the doors right at the entrance that lead back to the maintenance closet that holds the generator. He's working hard, however, to pass through this door. Do me a favor. Are you, Rowan, going to fire if you see movement? Are you going to fire if you see the dead? Or are you going to fire if you see any of the other survivors?
Confirmed dead. So especially even if she sees anyone lying on the floor that isn't moving, I feel like she would give the order for them to unload at least a clean shot into the head of the ones that are on the ground and maybe haven't turned yet, to try and get the numbers of those down.
All right. And I have updated your position on the map. You are only perhaps 20 or 30 feet into the brig itself. Kusanagi is by the entrance for the utility shed, and you are prepared now to fire upon confirmed dead. 2 have already been eradicated. However, from the sounds of it, there are others around, most likely above you, at least a few in the back portion of this corridor. Do me a favor. Go ahead and roll your pistol. You are going to have a few modifiers. However, let's see how you do. I do want 2 blue dice of speed rolled as well. And you'll have 1 die of difficulty given the darkness around you. However, you're not far enough in to be in full blackness yet. You still have some ambient light to work with. Sadly, most of it is coming from the firelight of the buildings that are burning outside.
I would like to use 4 competency points to make that 1 success.
Okay. So you will have 1 success. Now, to be clear, I will come back to you on your speed. So we will see if anything changes in between now and then. Go ahead and use your 4 competency. We will call that 1 success. Achira Lampwick, you're still inside the cell. Do you have anything that you would like to do now that you do have some small amount of light? You see where the dead are.
Where are they facing? Are they? Where's their attention? Can we determine
absolutely. The one that is in front of you, Lampwick, is focused on your cage and is standing now. The other 2 are currently tearing the throats out of the individual with the red dropped mohawk and the woman with brown hair, both of which now are very dead. This, other than that, you see no other Romeros. You do hear movement below, shuffling perhaps, moaning, some groaning. However, from the light of the door open, you do see an entire unit of Citadel soldiers enter into this place, and you hear gunfire as a number of the dead drop.
I just turned to Achira. I don't know what. Look, I'm less afraid of this guy than I am of the Citadel right now.
Is this Romero just like super focused on Lampwick, or is it looking at both of us?
Go ahead and make a detect motive roll for me, Achira. And yeah, it's 2 degrees, two dice of difficulty, given how dark it is, and it's not as pitch black as it was, but it is still pretty dark. You're just seeing shadowy figures, really.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes, because Chira's not known for her being able to read people, let's
Right.
say. Or,
Yeah, and especially in
So.
this situation, this is a dead person, and it's and it's dark. 5 degrees of failure. Do you just want to keep it?
Yeah, no, this makes perfect sense. She's never been
Right.
never been able to tell when people are lying and stuff.
Well,
So
with 5 degrees of failure, however, I'm going to have you so intent on what's happening here that you are not going to be aware of what's happening on the first floor. Does that sound fair?
sure. She's trying to figure out about this Romero, whether she'd have a chance to stealth behind it or something, and
Yes.
she's focused on that.
Yeah, your attention is fully drawn to this situation, and it's hard for you to determine anything. You don't come out of it with any more answers than you started with. However, you are now oblivious to what's happening on the floor beneath. Juniper, what is your intention here? You can see now. Light kind of has bled in here. It's still dark because it's dark outside. There's firelight. However, it's not as pitch black as it was. And you see the dead ripping into the other prisoners in front of you.
Is there anyone directly around me still that's not being eaten?
Yes, there are two.
The old man and the girl.
Yeah. So did you make your dodge check?
I did it before. I had 1 degree of success.
Okay, so you did manage to slip away as someone tried to grab onto you.
Oh, cool.
And now you see who that is. It's the quiet girl who was standing in the corner, and she's standing right above you. Her hair is hanging in her face, and you cannot see her eyes. And she's wearing the same hospital scrubs that everyone else is, but you can see that there are patches, stains of what look like blood dripped across them.
I'm gonna jump over this railing and try to get out of here. Bye.
All right. Make a jump leap for me with 3 black dice of difficulty, please.
Oh, okay.
And 2 blue die for speed as well.
Okay, this is a very scary thing. Okay, I don't have anything I can use for it. I was just checking. Oh god. What do I think is gonna happen?
That is 5 degrees of failure.
Sure is.
And so what happens, Juniper, is that you position yourself to leap over the edge of this railing onto 15 feet down into the hard concrete floor below. You position yourself ready to just jump to get away from the Romeros and the chaos that is behind you. However, as you start to climb over the rail, is there any number of competency that you wish to spend to lessen this?
Oh Christ. I have 1 left.
It'll still be catastrophic. You can go ahead and remove 1 if you choose, or you can hold on to it and just accept that this is going to be bad.
If I hold on to it, what is the difference? Let's see, day 43. Is it gonna make a huge difference, or is it sort of like I break 1 leg instead of 2 legs sort of thing? I don't know.
Going to be a question of severity, to be sure.
Oh, you know what? I'll go ahead and use this one little dude. So it'll be 4 degrees of failure, and let's see what happens to me.
Juniper, you begin climbing over the railing, trying to lessen the impact, the amount of distance that you have to drop to be able to get 15 feet below you. And as you climb over, strange girl grabs onto you. Don't leave me. And then she pushes you forward, shoving you out. I'd like to have you first make a competency roll. Or I'm sorry, a composure roll.
Composure, yep. Oh boy. Oh, any difficulty die here or no?
Yeah, I will add 3 black difficulty die to this, just as you had had for the jump itself.
Okay.
Given that this is very stressful, and this, while you haven't built up to this, you feel threatened.
What is the why is this happening to me?
However, you manage to hold tightly to yourself and not allow yourself to slip away. You can handle this, you believe. And you do find yourself falling very quickly as that figure stands at the railing looking down at you, dejected, her hair in her face, just watching as you fall. I'd like for you to make a balance check for me.
So what's happening? Okay.
And I'm going to add 2 black dice of difficulty.
Seems very cruel. Okay. Oh, I got 2 degrees of success. I guess I was holding on to those for later.
As you're falling, you have 2 choices, and I will allow you to make one of these choices as to which you want to have happen, all right? You can reach out and grab onto the floor of the 2nd level right off of that railing and stop yourself from falling entirely and hang there. Or you can drop all the way down and hope that when you roll, you're able to prevent any further damage. So you can roll or you can try to catch yourself.
I just weighing it all in my head. If I fall and roll.
Okay.
Can I fall on top of Rowan and squish her, please?
What is your damage threshold
Attack
at this
fall.
point? Knowing that it has been reduced by 1 due to the head injury that you were carrying.
4.
So you take a 3 and a 1 to your damage track, which means that you are going to, in fact, have that transfer over, I believe. So you have reached your threshold of 4 now, correct?
Right, I have my damage threshold is 5 total, but including the head injury, that's 5 altogether. Is that what you're saying?
You have do you have a wound on your damage track right now?
Yes.
So then you will actually reduce your damage threshold by 1, making it from a 5 to a 4, or was it made a 5 from a 6?
No, it was a 5 from before, from originally a 5.
It was originally a 5. So then your damage threshold currently is a 4.
I see. Okay. Yes.
So you'll have to move one of those die over.
Mm-hmm.
You can make the choice as to how you wish to handle that. You have a 3 and a 1. But you do hit the ground. You do hurt yourself, but it's not horrendous. You twist your ankle and you roll. And you feel a sharp kind of pain on that ankle, and your head begins to kind of swim for a moment. However, you are on the ground, and you are not dead. You see the figure standing above you, and you are now behind this unit. And you see close to you Rowan, who is standing with a gun drawn.
Cool. Good.
Now,
good.
Rowan, you had rolled your pistol for anything dead coming towards you. You have a bonus here to composure. I would like for you to make a composure roll.
Where is composure located at? I haven't had to roll that one yet.
So your composure is under your basic skills. It's under balance, climb, and then composure.
Excellent. There we go. Thank you for that.
You are part of a formation, so you will receive... you have full control over the situation. You assess what's happening. You see very clearly Juniper drop out of the sky and land roughly on the concrete floor next to you, rolling, a small spattering of blood dripping behind her as she repositions herself, and the two of you lock eyes. Do you wish to change your intention?
Yeah, I'm going to shoot.
Are you going to shoot Juniper?
Yes.
Very well. So, Juniper, I would like for you to make a dodge roll, please. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Rowan. You had made a pistol roll that was 1 degree of success. Is that correct? Or was it 2? I think it was 2.
Yes, and I can still add more competency to that, which I might want to do now that I'm not shooting non-moving targets.
Right. So you will be able to make adjustments to your action. You have 2 degrees of success already.
I would like to add 3 more competency points to that for 5 degrees of success.
That will make it a huge success.
Hi, everyone. I don't have any more competency left, so.
You are out of competency and you have 1 degree of success. Juniper, without anything further for us to do, you're going to be shot here.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we're going to end our session for the night. Next week, we will see exactly what happens next.
Oh man, will we though?